Happy Eid Maulud to all our Muslim viewers. And it's a brand new week. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown as always. I have the ladies. Hello.
Hi, Mariah. We love your hair.
Thank you.
Fola on the beat.
Fola hooked me up. Fola Jimmy hooked me up. What's the name of his
Fola's
place? Fola's place. And his store is in Allen Avenue. He's an amazing guy. When it comes to short hair and flat iron, he's the man. Anyway, even long hair, weaves. He's the man. How are you doing, Tokwe? How was your weekend?
My weekend was every shade of great.
Oh, fantastic.
Every shade of
Praise
great.
the Lord.
I'm totally grateful to God. So, Thursday and Friday, we had Excellence in Leadership conference at Daystar, and I was able to serve. And, you know, it was little by little, these things that we were opportuned to do in church. And it's now generating, everybody now wants to join online presenters because they didn't know what online church was. Right. Everybody wants to join. And I remember how I was brought in to start, and it was just like, oh, just be introduce people to the church, welcome people to church online. And now it's a big deal. We got to interview all the speakers that came got interviewed.
Fantastic.
I'm grateful to God. Then on Saturday, I got to speak at a Youth Empowerment Summit seminar. And, you know, I bantered this idea with a lot of people that I was preparing for it, and it was getting bigger. And someone dropped, I said a word, flip it. Now, everybody, towards the end of the event, when they said, thanks to Tokwe Makodiga, they said, flip it! It was like, it was fantastic. Because I wanted them to understand that, I wanted a word that would coin the entire speech, which is flip negative situations, flip negative thoughts, and that was across. Finally, yesterday, we got the award.
City Pride.
City Pride gave us our award in recognition of your view for being the most educative and people-oriented TV program. This is what Mariah has been fighting for, not the award, but to educate and give people the right mindset. Right, this is an award to Mariah and the entire team, the production team, everybody. Thank you for what you've been doing from Mr. Lukman Musa.
God bless you. We always forget to, because Mr. Musa actually put together, Mr. Musa actually put together the format that we follow today. We always forget to acknowledge that he put the format together.
I had him in mind, funny enough, from Mr. Lukman Musa and everybody that has been working on this for over 6 years. We always appreciate every award. We might not get to celebrate it on the show, but we thank you all for recognizing our efforts. You can bet that if Tokwe picks up the award for us, he'll be sure to remind, because if it's me, I forget. But Tokwe did a fantastic job of going there and then also mentioning. Yes, and my hair.
Thank you.
BC, this is for you, BC, and for YK. I am carrying my natural. I look at it. It's all my. This is not going to happen again.
In addition to that, actually, we got the most educated, informative TV show award from an iconic brand award. It's called Iconic Brand Award. So that's another award.
Iconic Brands Award.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They tagged it well. Educative, people-oriented.
So I'm happy that we're passing the message. Yes. That's the objective of this show. So once we get that, we're good to go. Mariam, how was your weekend?
Now, how do you go from
I don't understand to our weekend.
To my weekend. My weekend was me at home feeling, is it FOMO now? I was just missing out on a lot of things. This month, usually I would have gone for like Artex, GTB, Fashion Week, but then there's just so many things that have been taking up my mind and my space, and I'm thinking, going forward, I need to be able to find a way to organize my time. So when I had more time on my hands, there were some things that were quite important to me, and somehow now I just find that they are just, you know, I'm losing that, so I need to re-strategize so that I'm able to keep what I'm... Yes.
Fantastic. Good. I like your pendant. Very northern.
Thank you.
It has this northern thing.
It's just a leaf.
Yeah, but it's so goldy. Northern jewelry, it's very, very expensive, gold. You know, so it looks very
gold.
Yeah, very good on that side of town. How are you doing, Obiachulu?
I'm good. I'm grateful to God for life.
Did we plan a proper purpose?
Imagine
that.
So the weekend, Saturday, we had to go and pick our mama from school for the exit day. Yes. Yeah, we couldn't make. We were supposed to go to, you know, like a place to play for the kids, but we couldn't make it. We decided to do something else instead, and we spent the whole day. She had fun. She really had fun. She had the opportunity to pick things for herself, so she had fun. Trust me, she's my daughter, and I'm not bothered.
So we had to, you know, went back home. The traffic, I got home by 10. I still feel like I need a massage today. Maybe after the show, I would.
You know, too much of that can be bad for you.
No, she likes massage. Just
yeah,
leave it
I know that she likes it, but I just want to let you know.
How do you mean?
It
can be too much.
How? I went to go and do massage some time ago. My bones started shifting. You know, I have like metals all over my right leg. So I went to go. I was foolish to go somewhere where they now say using these machines to massage my thighs.
No,
what?
not for you.
I could feel the metal shifting. I mean, it was really, but I took a lot. Never again. So when I hear massage, I run away. Anyway, we have to really take an opportunity to celebrate with our Muslim brethren as they celebrate Eid al-Mawlud today. Happy birthday to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we pray that the Muslims and all of us will enjoy the goodness of this period and reflect on the Prophet's good deeds. Because I think the President also said something about that Muslims must reflect on the Prophet's good deeds and then be able to emulate him in every way of their lives. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, we're going to start with The Nation. Senator, no cash for 3,300 roads in next year's budget. Otedola gives 5 billion naira for Northeast intervention. Commits life to philanthropy, helping the underprivileged. Ekpeyong Akpabio chased 19,455 votes. Buhari urges Muslims to shun extremism. Army, Navy, Air Force lift officers. Okay, so senators are saying that there isn't much money in the 2020 budget. Who has that story?
So I do. The Senator Abdul Fatai Buhari has said that out of the 3,800 roads presented to the committee, it's only 500 roads that have been covered by the 2020 budget. So there are a lot of roads that are in deplorable states. A lot of them won't get fixed. Saying also that he's been with the minister and they've had talks that he didn't really mean what he said by they misquoted. It's part of the story. Yes, they quoted him out of context. That what he meant was that they've done a lot. This present administration has done a lot compared to what they met there.
In addition, he said he didn't use the word exaggerated. That was really what was contending after that. So never used that word. Yes, Otedola?
Yes, so Otedola made a donation of 5 billion naira.
Conveniently made a donation?
Well, I don't know about conveniently. But he
this is Doctors Foundation.
No, but it is to Save the Children charity to support the intervention in the Northeast. I mean, they said is one of the biggest or the biggest donation made by an individual. So we thank you, for, Mr. Otedola, for your kindness. We thank you, DJ Copy, for using your clout, or where you a child of a billionaire could have done anything with that kind of money, and you have decided to sort of put all your passion into saving children and doing good things. So we thank you that you're doing that. I
use the word convenient because it's his daughter's foundation. So I guess he can trust that the 5 billion naira will probably be used properly. So that's why I'm saying it's convenient. Hey, my daughter's foundation, I'm sure she can use the money properly. Yeah. Okay, let's start with this young man that lost his sight. What's that about?
Beautiful story. A graduate of physics from Kogi State University. His name is Tommy Waziri, 27-year-old. Who is awaiting NYSC, decided to take up a Taxify. It's called Bolt now. Take up the job, so to make ends meet. And it was the car was given to him by his brother-in-law. So he remits money on a daily basis to the man, only for him to get into traffic on a particular day. And the robbers attacked him. They wanted to take his phone and decided to shoot him in the eyes. Shot him in the eye. So he's lost his sight at the moment. He's still undergoing surgeries. He's complaining that Lasuth is not responsive as fast as they should be. So he has to go and pay about 350 in another private hospital to do that. But then he still hasn't regained his sight. They are just saying that...
really sad. So a young man just trying to wait for NYSC.
Being productive.
Trying to be... We all keep asking us to be productive. And now in this... Let's talk about... I wanted to mention the lawyer Femi Falana had said that our federal government only obeys foreign courts because when the courts in London asked our government to pay £250,000, they paid it immediately. But for whatever reason, our courts have asked them to release Sowore, and DSS has refused. According to DSS said that they're waiting for the lawyers to come and receive them. The Falana said, my lawyers were there throughout Thursday, and they didn't bring those guys out. So this is really unfortunate because I don't understand.
The government cannot be seen to be watering down this effectiveness of the judiciary, you know, and that's what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing because nobody, if you cannot obey the rule of law.
The government does not obey, why would I obey? Why would anybody obey? You can't be the one to make the rule and then you're breaking the rules. Really sad.
Really, really sad story. And that's the, oh fuck, let's move on to Daily Sun. 60 billion naira constituency projects. Reps prepare for showdown. Kanu's mom's death. Daily Sun. Obiano, only governor supporting us, says family. Coming railway wagon assembly plans to generate 5,000 jobs, says minister. Northeast, Oteda donates 5 billion naira. Ida Malud, kidnapping, forced marriages on Islamic, says Buhari. Okay.
So the wagons, we're going to be having a wagon plant in Nigeria.
Yep.
You know, there's been a revolution around the rail system. A lot of our money has been invested into revitalizing our rail system, Lagos to Abeokuta, Ibadan, and then we have the one from Abuja covering the northern area. So this particular plant is supposed to build, it's an assembly plant for wagons. This is in partnership with CCNC and Mrs. and it was inaugurated by the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. It is supposed to provide in a minimum of 5,000 jobs for Nigerians, feeding the system on ground. And it is a project under former Governor Rotimi Amechi, current Minister for Transportation. So I think it is good news because that it is bringing jobs to the country. They will assemble those wagons within Nigeria.
I really hope we can go from assembly to producing once the Ajakuta steel comes alive. Kanu's mom, what was that story?
Yeah, so it's just the Kanu's family saying that it's only the Anambra State governor who has been supportive after the Operation Python dance that happened in 2017. He's the one that checks up on them, helps them. He also organized a burial to, you know, in honor of the past Biafran soldiers that died, and he's the one who is in the fore of everything that's happening.
Let's move on to the Vanguard. Banks race to escape CBN's lending ratio penalty. Fayemi wasn't denied American visa, says NGF. Railway wagon assembly, we talked about that already. Army, Navy, Air Force promotes senior officials to next ranks. Those seeking to divide Oyo people with religion will fail, says Makinde. Libel Oshoba drags Okurumu to court, demands 3 billion naira damages. Okay, let's talk about Governor Fayemi.
Governor Fayemi, there was a report online, an online media house released this report saying that Governor Fayemi was denied visa into the US. And this statement was to correct that impression that that's wrong. The governor just came back from the US after the UN General Assembly meeting. And because he was going to attend an event at Addis Ababa, he had to withdraw his passport because there was a stipulated period, I think 2 to 3 days, for his passport to get the visa, and he needed to use that passport to travel to attend another event. That is why he withdrew his passport, not that his visa was denied, for those that were speculating. But that's not even a big deal. The banks are now forced to lend money to businesses because the CBN placed a fine on them the last time the check was done, and some of those banks didn't meet up to the ratio of lending they're supposed to do. So if your business is not in the red, it's in the green, your business is doing well, you can approach your bank, and it's compulsory for banks to give out loans to small businesses right now, and CBN is holding them accountable. So this is the right time to go seek loans from banks. I think they said
for banks, for companies like 25 million, like that.
I don't want to market the bank, but I know that banks are making offers. If you've had a turnover of 25 million in the past 6 months, you get as much as 10 million naira loan given to you for your business. So this is a good time.
So I think when we hear this good news, we need to share it. Daily Trust. Firefighting equipment grounded in states amid rising incidents. Jesus Christ, which state is this one? Enugu. DSS arrests matron for others over abduction of children in Kebbi. Let's take those two stories. Who has it?
So in Kebbi.
Yes.
I'll take the Kebbi one quickly. So a matron who works with Usman Fodio University Teaching Hospital has been arrested. Her name is Helen Samuel, and her accomplices Dorothy Okonkwo, Comfort Wanko, Uchenna Benedict, and Moses. So they came together, and 4 months ago, these twins were playing in front of their parents' house. I think we took that story a while back, and one of them was taken away. The girl was taken away. 4 months later, after the parents had reported to Vigilante and gotten the DSS involved, they were able to rescue them from this woman. So we just, yes, she had kidnapped them to be sold. So we just say, you know, as usual, this is a good story, ended well. They're able to find them 4 months after.
All right, so Daily Trust took pictures of fire trucks, fire trucks.
Carried out an investigation across states only for them to discover a lot of states, Kogi Plateau, Cross River states,
Why are we just taking this?
Edo states. In fact, it's something that we should read later. KB, Anambra, Rivers, most of them have just 1 truck or 2 trucks, no personnel. The place is in a deplorable state. That's why they are not able to take up their responsibilities and attend to emergencies. So I think people should, you know, read this and find out your state, how many fire trucks you have. You can hold your governor accountable.
As we are marching to the government's office, we should be marching that, please, with the demand fire trucks. Because what are they using the money for? Moving on to Nigerian Tribune, Kogipo, PDP, Bello trade wars over violence. Let's find a story that we've not taken. Serap sues Buhari National Assembly over failure to account for security votes. Border closure, rice smugglers, fake pregnancies, use fuel tanks to evade arrest. Shore activists slam federal government DSS over continued incarceration. Really sad indeed. Let's talk about the smugglers.
241.2 billion naira allocated public funds disbursed to be used as security votes. And so what Serap is doing is saying that they had sued the presidency to court, the president sued, and the order was given to mandate them to release how the money was disbursed to the states and what it was used for. What Serap is saying is that they haven't, they've sued and we're waiting to get the reply. From 1999 till date, how has all the security votes been spent? Who had access to it and what was it used for?
Also, in addition, reps are having issues concerning the fact that only 10 of their principal officers will be sharing 60 billion for their constituency projects.
Because when you're a principal officer, it
means that your constituency needs more money.
Yes.
So they're having that issue in the National Assembly, and hopefully they're going to resolve that soon.
We just want accountability, Mariah. At the end of the day, if you give that 60 billion naira, we don't mind. I don't mind. Is it going to go to what it's meant for?
Why is it only for principal officers?
Yes.
It
has to be
the reason people are asking that question is because the money is not coming to them. So I'm not bothered about who gets the money. Let the money do what it's meant to do.
Exactly.
Okay, no, I'm even bothered about what gets why they think they should get more.
We can take on front page review. When we come back, we'll discuss other hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So 2 members of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, have been dismissed from their orientation camp after they refused to wear trousers. According to reports, the 2 corps members refused because they couldn't wear they didn't want to wear the trousers because it's against their faith. They preferred to wear skirts. Now, this has been a recurrent issue in NYSC. I think we discussed it sometime this year. I think. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, we know recently that a law student who was trying to get pass out in the law school took law school to court, and I think they won that case. Which I know Nima was celebrating at the time. So with that as a precedence, why is NYSC finding it difficult to allow young girls who are by faith are saying they cannot wear trousers? That's the conversation we'll have. And we'd like to hear your thoughts on this. We tried to reach the, let me get her name, Mrs. Adenike Adeyemi, I believe. Mrs. Adenike Adeyemi, she's supposed to be the Director, Press and Public Relations, NYSC from Abuja. I've been trying to call her since last night. I got her number from Mrs. Belinda Fani, who told me she's the right person to talk to on this issue. I've been calling her since yesterday, even till this morning. I can't reach her. Hopefully, our producers will keep trying now. We'll see if we can get her on the phone. Because it's important for us to get NYSC's view on this issue. It's been recurrent, and we need to know what their thoughts are. Although some people believe that, listen, hey, those are the rules, obey the rules. What are your thoughts on this when you heard this? Let me start with Samke. Go ahead.
I totally believe that you should obey the rules. I believe that every religion does not ask you to disobey the rules as a way to carry out your actions. You cannot, because you want to achieve something, do what is wrong. Two wrongs don't make it right. One person needs to follow the due process. However, I have spoken on this kind of issue with Nima, and I've seen how passionately she said that sometimes you need to break the rules to achieve your goals. Sometimes you need to protest. If some people, individuals in Nigeria didn't protest the issues going on with colonialism, and the protest wasn't legal, many laws are changed because people protested against the laws.
Let me pause you for a second, Doctor, because I forgot to invite our viewers. You can call us on 0708-0668-014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your VTVC. It's important we hear your thoughts and views on this.
So yes. While revolutionaries have to always protest against what's right, it might cost them something. These girls might never get to go through youth service, but the price they are paying now might ensure that future generation of Muslims that want to serve are allowed to comply with their religion. Okay. In recent time, there's a news that they've been now allowed to use hijabs, but they were not allowed to use their trousers. What they've done now might make people go to court and process it out.
So let me hear your thoughts first.
I feel that, for me, this is a choice that we have to make as a nation. Are we going to allow religious symbols to, get in the way of our constitutional organizations, something like NYSC? Or are we going to say this is strictly government-based, devoid of any form of religion? So if you are a Muslim, if you're a Christian, hang it there. After your 1 year, you pick it up. If we are going to say that we are going to let religion have their way, that means it will cut across. Now, these girls were Christians and they wore skirts. In NYSC, they allow people with hijab. So if you allow certain religions to have their way, you make it plain for every other person. If a traditionalist comes tomorrow and say, I'll have to tie white cloth on my chest, I'm an Igbo person, you should allow that as well. We need to know where we stand. It's a choice that we have to make as a nation.
Let me hear your thoughts, Mariam.
Yeah, so my problem is that I wonder what this stand is really for. Is it just to make a point? Because we have heard of the story of the lady with the hijab who finally sort of got justice, and now the hijab is allowed, for call to bar. So I'm just wondering if we're doing this from a place of honesty, or we just want to make a point that if you can let one side, then let us come up with another side. I know that Christianity on its own does not generally prohibit some kind of dressing. So for me, if it was like a nun coming, we know them with their habit that they wear, I can understand that. But for the girls who are coming to say that, oh, we wear skirts, and that's why we would not wear the NYSC uniform, I just wonder if we can go through, don't shush me, wait first, by investigation, we will check these ladies who are coming. Do we check them and see that this is what they have always done, that they wear skirts instead of trousers? Because I know that things like that just calls for a situation where everybody is trying to make a point to, instead of really doing what it is that it's meant to do. And as Obiajulu said, sometimes we already have what the Constitution states. And yes, we agree that until you sometimes take a different route, you may not get what it is that you want. So in a case like that, we have to just make sure that we make a law that covers for every religion or else we just have different people.
Okay, let me come to you.
Okay, I wanted to
we have our society is very religious biased. We are a Christian and Muslim nation. Not all Muslims wear hijab. Not all of them. Some of them don't feel like it's compulsory for them to. Not all Christians wear trousers. Many religious sects in their own context are not allowed to do makeup. They're not allowed to wear jewelry. Some Christians are not allowed to do blood transfusion and wear trousers. And if that has been your trajectory all your life up to that point, the same right that Muslim person has to protest wearing a hijab is the same right that the Christian person has to protest wearing a trouser. The issue is, if the government was holistic in their approach in the first place, you would have said that this government is secular. We have made our rules. Everybody conform. France did it. They made their rules. If you come, you can't wear a burqa. It is within the country. That is
If you're not
it.
interested,
Totally. That country took a stand. The failure of our country and our leaders to take a holistic look. We just do short-term plans. Oh, they protested this in court. Let us give them what they want. No. If you now think of the entire ramification, like BC explained, that the traditionalists can come tomorrow and say, this is the culture I have had from my forefathers, and this is what I want to do. When we take that 360 degrees long-term approach to every law we're making, we might not make some laws, and we might not allow some things we are allowing right now.
Right. So, let me take this call from Sheikh. I'll come to you, very thanks for calling, sir. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, there.
Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, man. This is Oluwasegun calling from Mero, and I'm a first-time caller, man.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. Please, I would like to make a contribution. You see, if this issue had to favor, Muslims, I'm sure, there would have been all these protocols around it. It would have favored them. I remember in 2009, when I was on the orientation camp, it was the time when Muslims were fasting. They had to make sure that we had only 3 weeks camp. We only had to spend 3 weeks. They said because Muslims were fasting. Don't Christians fast? Now, this is an issue of a Christian lady whose religion or whose faith cannot allow her to put on trousers. Now, they are denied her. NYSC has been, 2 of them have been denied NYSC. If it were to be an issue of Muslims, I'm sure they wouldn't have been against them. Nobody is talking about people, putting on hijab on the national camps. Nobody is talking against that. Because it's in favor of Muslims.
No.
Thank you very much.
It's not. We're not dividing ourselves here. So I wanted to say that if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. What is the purpose of NYSC? To bring oneness. So integration. So that whether you are Yoruba, you're Hausa, whatever ethnic group, whatever culture, whatever religion, you get into that place and all you see is Nigeria. You are one Nigeria. When we now start separating our dresses because of our different religions or our different ethnic groups or whatever it is, what have we succeeded in achieving with NYSC? Then there's no point. Graduate from school and get a job. You don't need to come together anymore. So it's something that the government has to look into. Do we want to go through this, or we want to say NYSC?
That's the challenge. We didn't take a long-term approach.
One second, hang in there, let me
Okay,
talk.
so for me, sometimes I even wonder, do people understand what we do at the camps, the NYSC camps, that you would want to wear a skirt instead? I know that we had to climb ropes. I don't know if they still do them. I know that I had to climb ropes, and I wonder how you would wear them with your skirts on. So sometimes I think we need to just think, for me, I don't know why I just feel that this is more like a situation where we're just trying to score points. It does not make sense. I know some people will come for me and say, yes, but my religion says so. But we have done this for so many years. It has not been a problem.
Yeah.
It does not stop you from being, it does not really stop you from being a Christian. The clothing of the NYSC is not revealing even per se. The trousers are usually really big. In fact, you get people complain more about how it's just too big, and people are amending it to hold their form.
Yeah.
If you know that you're meant to go there to do exercises, what would you wear for exercises, even as a Christian or as a Muslim?
Let me take this call. We hold it for a while. Amaka, thanks for calling. Sorry for keeping you. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
This issue of being somebody wearing a skirt during the youth service period is not supposed to be an issue. People have treated this kind of matter before. Just like me, I don't wear trousers. You can imagine somebody that did the law. After 5, 6, or 7 years, they stop the person halfway because he said he don't want to wear maybe trousers. They're supposed to make it maybe 50-50. If most, it must be that khaki. Those who don't want to wear trousers, those who like trousers will wear trousers. Those who like to wear skirts will wear skirts. They cannot say because of somebody say that I don't want to wear this thing. I don't want to wear trousers. My own shorts, I'm a cardigan. There's something like they used to wear trousers, but me in particular, I just decided that I don't like wearing trousers. Okay. So if this kind of a matter occurred to me, so if I'm studying that, they will stop me because I said I don't want to wear trousers to serve. Not that I disobey any other thing. So long as it's a khaki, they're not supposed to make this as a big issue. Somebody serve after how many years? School after how many years?
Right. Thank you very much. I'm having trouble hearing her, but let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So as I said, this is a recurrent issue amongst Muslims, Christians, and different religions. And the worrying part of it is the fact that these are doctrines, for example, for churches, now these are individual doctrines that different churches bring. Some say don't wear skirts. There's no way that was stipulated exactly what kind of things you should wear. The most important thing is that where you're properly covered, or you dress in moderation, you're decent. So I think we've finally been able to reach Mrs. Adenike Adeyemi. She's supposed to be the Director, Press Public Relations for NYSC. Good morning, madam. Are you there? Oh, I'm still okay. I thought she's not on yet. But so as we wrap up on this, yes, go ahead.
So I want to address people like Shegun, people that have sentiments like Shegun, thinking that this is happening to these girls because they are Christians and that Muslims get a free way. Let's not divide the country on that line. The protest is not for Christianity, it's not for Muslims. This is for human rights. People that feel like this service, this wearing your uniform as a core member is violating my human rights. And they have a right to protest. It might result in them not serving or getting it postponed for the next 1 year. They will go to court and follow the due process. Go to court after you've been kicked out and tell the courts why you should be allowed to go back and serve.
Okay, I think I have Mrs. Adeyemi on the line now. Good morning, madam. Are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Sorry for reaching you at this last moment. We would like to hear your thoughts on this issue.
I'll need to get this thing to be a little bit louder.
Okay. I would like to hear your thoughts on the recurrent issue with NYSC, where corpers refuse to comply with the rules of wearing trousers and based on their religious faith. So we have the Muslims initially had complained about hijabs or wearing trousers. Now we have Christians complaining that they don't want to wear trousers either. I would like to hear your NYSC's views on this and how do you intend to approach this issue?
Thank you very much. 2 core members were educated in a boy camp because they refused to wear trousers. I want to thank Nigerians, and the interest in the welfare of core members, because when you talk about something, that means you want the best for them. So I'm taking it, and the NYSC is taking it as, yes, they're interested in our children, core members, that is Nigerians generally. And definitely, NYSC, that's why we're there. The uniform is not designed against any faith. Nigerians will have to understand that. The uniform is not designed so that some people can, be uncomfortable. That uniform is designed based on the kind of training our children are exposed to. They do so many things in camp. It includes some manual war exercises. It includes the parade and so many other things. This uniform was designed so that the male, the female will be able to participate in the kinds of training exercises involved in camp and even throughout the service year. So it has no religion in mind. It has no individual. It has no gender. This is the best for the kind of training these young children are exposed to, and that's that design. I also want all of us to have it in mind that the NYSC has been in existence for 46 years. This uniform has been part of our story. It's also part of our brand. Why would an individual want to change it after 46 years? And basically, why would an individual consider it as it's against my religion? No, not against any religion, not against any gender.
Okay, all right, let me pause you, Ma, for a quick second. They say the only constant thing is change, and people expect that as time goes on and things are happening where there's more religious freedom, religious emancipation across various countries, that these kind of laws should be reviewed to accommodate various religious beliefs and inclinations. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, definitely. The constant thing is change. But change is done when something is bad. And you progress from, maybe from one point to a point where something is better and more, maybe more befitting. Is there any religion that is saying with the uniform that the NYSC has now is bad? We have not seen it as, looking at that religion, that's the uniform that NYSC has right now. It's not immoral. It doesn't expose any part of anybody's body. So these are the reasons why you will say you don't want to wear something. You don't want to wear that thing because maybe it's given a bad view. But this particular uniform, if you're asking, I mean, even the uniform has gone through some redesigning to be in line with,
Right. Okay, let me just get in one more question for you, madam. Go ahead.
Okay, so, Mr. Adeyemi, I wanted to ask you about the changes that accommodated the hijab.
I did not hear that. Can you please repeat?
The changes that accommodated hijab. Has NYSC made changes to accommodate hijab for Muslim ladies to wear the hijab when they are going to camp?
There is no, it's not even a change. It's always been part of the NYSC. The hijab does not redesign the NYSC uniform. The hijab does not change the trouser to skirt. The hijab does not change any part of the NYSC uniform as designed and as given. It doesn't. The hijab, the NYSC over the years has always allowed the short hijab for Muslim ladies who want to wear hijab. So they wear the short hijab and they tuck it into the uniform. That has always been allowed. That has always been allowed as part of the NYSC. But it doesn't deface the uniform. What these ladies are asking is changing the entire design of the uniform, changing the trouser to the skirt. And
that's not going to happen. All right. Thank you very much, madam, for clarifying that for us.
Thank you for your interest.
Thank you very much, madam. All right. So that's all we're going to take on that issue. When we come back, we have a chat with an amazing lady to discuss how women can create wealth. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So women are generally known to spend their earnings on the welfare of their husband, children, and the entire family. Experts say that women need to re-examine how they can create sustainable means of livelihood. Now, joining us on the show is a South African wealth coach and financial consultant. Her name is Samke Mhlongo. Welcome to the show,
Thank you,
Mhlongo. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So you can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Okay, so women these days obviously are making more money. Many of them are financially independent. They're comfortable. But we find that many of them are not wealthy because they spend most of this money on family. They just earn to spend. Women find it difficult to save. I'd like you to share if you have experience with women and how we can better utilize our earnings for something more sustainable as savings.
Absolutely. So across the world, it's not just an African phenomenon, and that's what I shared in a business conference that I was here to attend. It's basically the same narrative, the same story where women, yes, we can go out into the world, we're more educated now, we are holding executive positions now, but still most of our monies goes back into looking after the household. Then you find that when there's an upset, such as an illness of a spouse, the death of a spouse, divorce even, that you are left wanting because you haven't been buying properties in your name or starting businesses that are solely in your name, but rather thinking always about the community, which is your immediate family and even extended relatives. So we need to start rethinking what that looks like without upsetting the family structure as we know it, so that it doesn't look like, oh, are you preparing for divorce or are you preparing to kill me? Because that's what the narrative currently is. So just like when you take out medical insurance, for instance, you're not preparing to be sick, or take out car insurance, you're not preparing for an accident, but you're preparing for the what if. And the what if is on the rise. If you look at, for instance, divorce statistics in South Africa, where I'm from, 4 out of 10 of all marriages end up in divorce before their 10th year anniversary.
Nigeria is 5.
5 out of 10?
5, yeah,
when I looked for the Nigerian statistics, it was quite difficult to find those, which is why I'm not commenting on them. Because it was unclear, where it stands. But even in the case where there isn't a straight divorce, death is certain. The timing is uncertain. There's a statistic released by an African report, I think it was the World Bank, that said that by the age of 65, there are as many widowed women as there are married women. 65. And by the age of 80, that number jumps to 80%. Wow. So that's one eventuality you can already start thinking about. What does that look like? Because whilst we're married, we're all comfortable and we get along with our in-laws. But the proof is when the husband passes away, then all of a sudden, auntie this one who was your friend, uncle this one who was your friend is like, thank you very much, it's been nice having you.
To say.
Get out.
It's quite difficult to say.
Beyond saving, it's investing. So I find, I listen to you and I'm wondering, okay, so yeah, I know about the divorce rate and all of that, but people, we don't think long term. Yes. Especially women, we don't think long term. We feel our investment is in our marriage, in our partner, we're together, but we're not thinking of, I'm 65. Yes. How would I earn a living at 65? Correct. Would I be depending on my children or what? How do we plan for that future? What are the things we can start doing now in our 30s, 40s to prepare ourselves for when we're in our 60s, not to be hustling to make a living?
So first and foremost, I think awareness, just the fact that you're now starting to ask the question of how do I invest is really a step forward for many women, right? And then once you've started asking how do I invest, you know that the easiest place to go first is a registered financial advisor, your bank, to say this is my lifestyle. This is the line of work I'm in. This is the type of life I'd like to live when I'm no longer able to earn as much of an income as I'm earning now. What does that look like? And a simple principle you can follow is, this is how much I have to start with in terms of investing. Everyone knows that with a simple budget. This is how much I would need it to be in future, because that'll tell you the rate of growth you need. Savings and investments in traditional instruments like banks is not actually appropriate for all of us, because sometimes the growth we need is not offered by the banks and products that are available. Therefore, you should be looking at second business. Therefore, you should be looking at multiple income streams, because an active income, i.e. an income you work to generate, will always give you a higher return than a passive income, which is sitting in an investment or a rental income type. So simple principles already will help your thinking in where you should be looking.
Okay, but you know, in this climb, I'm going to use my country for a start. It's not really, I don't know how to put it now, it's not really encouraging for women who want to go out there and invest so much. Let's take, for instance, you want to buy a house as a woman. You get to your landlord and he asks you, do you have a husband? Do you have a brother? You have to come with a male figure for them to be able to give you a land, for them to be able to give you a house and all of that. The process. So while you're trying to make women create wealth more, especially in Africa, in Nigeria, how do you change the mindsets of the men that this is okay for a woman to acquire a piece of land without necessarily getting somebody, a male figure, to stand in?
I'm so glad you raised that, because I'm not ignorant to the fact that in many regions in Africa, not just Nigeria, but Zimbabwe, Kenya as well, women aren't allowed to own land. And so I, as a foreigner, cannot come and be canvassing policymakers to say you better be changing laws, because who am I, right? But if I start making women aware that, listen, here is something that hinders you from actually looking after yourself, should you need to rely only on your own financial exercises and basically the efforts of the financial decisions you made, then that will start getting you, the citizens of the country, to canvass, like the youth is doing now, the Youth Corps is doing now, to say, hang on a minute, the law as it stands doesn't suit us. Policies as they stand, culture as it stands, doesn't suit us. Because remember, practices and culture were established in a time to respond to the needs of that time, and we're actually for our well-being. If right now we're seeing more and more women left worse off, does that culture then still have a place?
Well, so we have, yes, we can say that women are doing a lot better. They are better educated, better aware of what they need to do, savings and investment-wise. But we still have like a huge population of Nigerian women, at least, who are not so educated or not so conversant with the financial tools that they need to engage in to help them make investments, you know, for their future. And I find that sometimes when we talk finance and, you know, financial tools, it just seems to, you know, be too much for us to handle. So I wonder, female wealth creation managers like you, is there a sort of language that you have differently to help with the female, you know, the female now who may not be as well educated, as exposed, but still needs to make investments. Do you have something like that?
Absolutely. I focus on what's known as the missing middle. So if you look at government will usually focus their efforts or direct their efforts at the lower, what we call bottom of the pyramid, so the poorer people. They'll tend to have financial workshops or put out a little insert in the newspaper. Then banks will tend to look at your H&Is, high net worth individuals. Then there's the missing middle, the ordinary working citizens like you and I that don't earn enough to be chased by the banks, but you know, government's not going to give you a subsidy for everything here and there. You still pay taxes, but still pay private schooling, private medical aid, etc. So that's where I focus on, and in my belief, I decided to follow that route because I believe that if we empower and cement and secure the financial position of the missing middle, you will teach your family members or your cousins who are not as well educated. You will uplift them, and it's that trickle-down effect, which government is actually not very effective at doing. So by securing the middle class, you'll actually find that ripple effect to the lower classes. That's not politically correct, but you know, or the lower income earning individuals rather, or the less educated to then
let's talk
empower
about
themselves.
options of investments that you think is good for women to look into. A lot of people come across saying property is a good option. I have an issue with properties because I just feel like, listen, everybody's, I don't know, my father owned the property, my mother owned the property, my father-in-law owned the property, and none of us are interested in those properties. We've moved on with our lives. So I always feel like, what's the point in acquiring this big house when at the end of the day, you might not need it, your kids are out of the country, they're somewhere else, who's going to live there?
Kind of the property, Mariah, so, not commercial.
So that's what I'm saying. That, so what kind of investments can we begin to look into to secure the future?
I love that question so much because it is a very bad habit to ask, what should I be investing in, right? Or rather, let me rephrase, what is a good investment? There is no such thing as a good investment because a good investment for Topware is not a good investment for Mariah.
Wow.
That's why financial advisors will do a needs analysis to say, what is your starting point, what is your destination, and then the investment or product will be the route. We can't say that the best route is X highway, because where you're trying to go and where you're coming from. So we should get out of the habit of asking what's a good investment, but rather, what do I have to start with? What am I trying to achieve? And what is the best product or investment to get me from where I am to where I'm trying to go?
Yeah. Fantastic. So I know about your story, and I know how this reawakening came up. And there are many people who's gone through divorce and they're grappling with the fact that, where do I start from?
Yes.
And they don't know how to start. So I want you to use your own story and how you leverage what would have been a bad experience for many people that will just cry about it and just go down, and how you jumpstart a new phase and a new career from that experience. Your story.
My story in a nutshell, married at 21, going through a divorce by 29, a 2-year process where it's courts and fighting, etc., losing everything. And basically, that reawakening came from the fact that I was a private banker. And I felt so hypocritical that I was telling other people how to manage their finances, but when I knock off at 5 and, you know, I get home and basically all I'm liable for is to pay for the nannies and buy groceries, and my money can go to shopping and stuff like that. I'm just like, you know, I'm made. Thank you, Jesus, for your blessings. But I was being hypocritical because I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. So I remember praying one day saying, God, if you get me out of this, please, I promise to use my story, my life to help other women not go through this. Because if I'm a banker and I can't make it to the end of the month, how much more other people who don't have my expertise, right? And that's where it started. And I guess for me, it's become so important for me to share with women that just because you're good now doesn't mean that you'll always be good. Money is dynamic. You never arrive when it comes to money. Those people that are rich are fighting to stay rich. So we need to always be on the lookout. We need to always be watching what's happening in the economy, what's happening around us, what opportunities are there, how do we defend ourselves in our position. But it's never static. You never arrive.
All right, let's go on a break. Because I feel like you've gotten to the point where we really need to have, but now that we're getting real. Because the truth is that there are lots of things we need to discuss concerning life. Life happens to people.
Yes,
we must always prepare for that period. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Staying with us, Sumaram had a comment here.
Yes, so another thing I want to discuss is how women just view money and money talk. So for me, traditionally, I tend to find that women used to talk about money. So they'll come together and do what we would call asusu. So they'll come together, put monies together in one pocket. So I don't know what it's called where you're from. But I feel that educated women don't really talk about money. And it's like, you know, we're afraid to discuss money either because we may be seen as being immodest, or you just don't want people to know your business. In what way do you think that this has affected how we create wealth and help each other?
It's interesting that you say it's because maybe we're being modest. I think it's actually because we don't want people to realize we're not as rich as we pretend to be. Sorry. So that's why we avoid talking about money. But the reality is the whole world is suffering. Like, the whole world is going through a retraction. And when we are honest and open about the fact that, friend, please loan me a couple of thousand naira till month end, you don't know what that conversation can spark. Wow. And also, when you perhaps even suggest, guys, let's start a savings club, one, you're having that social net now that supports you because you know you're meeting every month for a social event that actually has a financial goal. So I tick that off as, please
go,
already? Go do that.
Yeah, Tokwe has been
yet, but
we're building each other up.
Financial intelligence.
I'm not aware. They always leave me in the loop. I have no idea.
Yeah, we need to have an intervention. Two, too many times women were starting savings clubs for consumption purposes. So you start a savings club so that you can buy your groceries in bulk. Are you saving, or are you just buying at a discount? Unless you're starting a savings club that will buy an Uber vehicle or a property, please, let's not call it saving, but rather just bulking up so we can get a bulk discount.
So there's a difference.
It's huge. So it's different from actually putting money into investing.
Because at the end of that cycle, that money will be utilized.
And we have talked about and that was my
So how has your balance sheet changed or shifted?
I save and I spend. I save and I travel. I save.
We
and I
save to spend.
And that is wrong because that's not long term.
It's not wrong. Because remember, there's short-term saving, there's middle and long-term. Short-term, we tend to get right. I mean, in fact, we tend to celebrate. Oh my gosh, you guys, I saved for my holiday.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic, but have you saved for retirement or for your trust? Thanks.
Yes, so this, you know, you mentioned that when we start having this conversation, we may not know how deep it can open our eyes to see certain things. I remember while I was working as a teacher, a colleague of mine approached me and said I should borrow her, I lent her 40,000 naira. And I looked around. I had no shishi. And that was the first time I realized that I need to start keeping money aside. Then aside from that, there's also this, this being broke just before the month is over. At the beginning of the beginning of the salary earners, beginning of the month, once you've spent the money, you've paid all the bills, the say from last month, and then after 1 week, after 1 week, you're waiting again, and you're living on credit till the end of the month.
How do you deal with that?
How do we start treating or teaching women to build sustainable income that, aside from the day job that they have, to also, you know, explore their passion and see how they can make money from that as well?
I would like to add to that question that, yes, you're asking us to explore how do we teach them, but at the same time, will the family suffer when they do that? Because when people ask me to do multiple things, I'm doing multiple things, but I'm now seeing that other things are suffering. So how do you combine that multiple streams of income, be this high flyer, and be a good mother to your children, and be a good wife to your husband?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to dispel this idea that people are broke before month end. Some people are broke on payday.
I see.
You see, I don't need to elaborate.
No, you don't.
I'll let that simmer.
Yeah.
So, moving on to point 2. How do you balance multiple incomes with being a good mother, a good wife, a good sibling, whatever the case is, become more effective? In Africa, we are so obsessed with being busy, but we fail at being productive. You can literally still come home and you've executed on what you need to. So it's work smart, not harder, right? I have 5 income streams, but I'm in bed by 10. I'm up at 6, I get my 8 hours of sleep. I'm having dinner with the kids because I'm effective. I know that if I'm going to leave my house, it needs to be for a minimum invoice amount of X or more. Otherwise, I'm not going.
Pause. Just pause. Adebayo has been holding very well. Adebayo, you there?
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Please, I just want to chip in a few things on the, what's it called, the dismissal of those 2 young ladies from the NYSC.
Yes, go ahead, please, very quickly.
Yeah, please, I'd like to say that we live in an environment where the strong are always preying on the weak. These young ladies are just being persecuted unnecessarily. I want to believe that our nation's laws guarantee the freedom of religion, freedom to believe in any God you want and to practice or to worship that God as you please. If at the heart of this lady's religion is the fact that ladies are not allowed to put on, trousers, for crying out loud, why are these people being persecuted? Okay. First, the NYSC was patterned after military and paramilitary organizations. And even the army allows women to put on skirts. Are you saying that the NYSC is more military than the army or more paramilitary than the police? It doesn't make any sense. The spokesperson for the NYSC said this practice has existed, or this practice has existed for about 4 decades. That's no proof that it's correct. Slavery existed for centuries in the U.S., but it never erased the fact that it was immoral.
Thank you very much, Adebayo. I think we get the point very well. Thank you so much for sharing your views. Mariam was going to say something.
Some things. You
were
dropping
back
some
to the issue.
things.
Yeah, go ahead.
About being broke by payday, about not... The questions you've not answered completely. How do we now manage our time effectively? How do we have all this sort of income? How do we not step out? Because you say it so nicely, oh, don't step out until you have your invoice for a specific amount of money. But some women don't have experience and they are using those opportunities to gather experience.
God bless you.
So how do we prioritize? How do we find that balance? How do we prioritize making money? And at the same time, you need to pay your dues in the industry you're going into.
It's a journey. So if you understand that it's a journey, right? I'm not going to, at this point, make everything I need to be comfortable. I will build up to it. That will, one, allow you to know what to say no to. Because once you start opening yourself up to multiple income streams, you'll find there'll be many opportunities. Then you end up doing everything and you are a jack of all trades but a master of none. It is only through expertise and mastering one industry or field or niche that you will become a master at it and earn a premium for your time. And a lot of us don't do that. We want to do everything. I'm a speaker, I'm an MC, I'm an actress, I own a salon, I'm a tailor. You understand? And then you don't become, and then you actually don't grow. You'll be rich, right? But you won't be wealthy. Okay, because all that time is costing you as well. Now you have extra nannies, extra transport. So you're making more money, but you're spending more money to support you making more money. Okay, so understand it is a journey, have a plan, know where you're trying to go to. And actually, once you've identified that actually I have a gap in this area, I'm not a master at it, that then maybe tells you, what do I need to do to become a master at it? Do I go to school? I'm still studying, even though I have a master's, did a dissertation on finance, I'm still studying. I'm writing new boards so I can get a license to manage funds and now grow the avenues of passive income in the field I've created of wealth. Because it was training people on wealth. And now when they say, where do I go for my investments? I need to be able to say, to me.
I like that. You know, a lot of people are in jobs that they don't have satisfaction. They just have to make ends meet, so they keep doing that thing. Now, how do you get to a point where you now, because most wealthy people I've seen are people who worked on their passion, what they loved doing, and they're making money. So it's fun for them, and they're growing in it. So how do you get to a point where you tell people that these hobbies that you used to unwind are not just hobbies? Look into it and see how you can build something for yourself.
Fantastic question. That is how I actually started this career. It was a hobby. Let's first understand that passion is a privilege. Okay? Not all of us can afford to follow our passion. So let's not punt that irresponsibly. All right? I've told many of my clients you actually can't afford to quit your job and follow your passion. So you may have to start No, it's the truth.
That, yeah.
You can afford to. Yeah. So it starts as a side hustle. That's what I used to do. I used to spend many hours. I'd go to work. I was still a banker, and then I'm training on the side, sometimes for free, because I'm building my credibility. Yeah. But I had a plan of where I want this to go. I wasn't just being busy for the sake of being busy. I was building credibility so that I can leverage it and start charging for it. Okay. After a year, 18 months, then I started charging for the workshops. And once I got to the level where my passion was matching my salary is when I quit my day job.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So you can start as a side hustle. I wanted us to go a bit more practical because I was going to talk about this field of makeup because a lot of young ladies look up to people like Dokpe and others that they want to do makeup. I have a young girl, she's so brilliant. I mean, this girl got an A, she's first class in business administration. She's really smart, but she loves this makeup business and she wants to do it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, where's the career path? Where's the future headed? Where are you going to, yes, it's your passion, but you have this degree. Why don't you find something to start off? Well. But no, she's leaving school, she's serving right now, and she wants to start makeup business.
Immediately.
That kind of person, how do you help that person build such that they know, they see the future, the career path in that kind of industry?
So that's a difficult question to answer because each industry has its unique opportunities that you would have need to spend time in investigating. A very wise person once said to me, a market gap exists for a reason. Not because you're the first person to have that idea, but because it is so expensive or so difficult or not lucrative to capitalize on it.
Right.
So maybe many people have seen it, have tried, and they've left it. That's why it's still there.
Right, right.
Okay?
Right.
So a lot of us jump into ideas without actually doing the necessary due diligence investigating. Who will my first client be? How many clients will I need to break even? What is my break-even points, i.e. my break-even point, i.e. what expenses will I incur? How will I grow? Will I be makeup artist to the stars where I'm charging a couple of million to do your face? Or will I have franchises or many makeup artists under my brand? So a lot of us don't have a business plan, i.e. where am I going? We just enjoy the fact that we are going.
Right. Okay,
that's why we never get there.
Let me take this call from Adebayo that comes to you, Mariam. Adebayo, are you there?
No, I said Jude.
Jude, I'm sorry. Jude. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
I want to comment on the first topic you talked about.
Very quickly, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
My opinion is that the people dismiss ought to obey constituted authority. It is there in the Bible, and it is also there in the Quran. The entity NYSC said they should dress with trousers. They have a reason for that, and it did not start this year or not yesterday. So other callers called mentioning other paramilitaries, the police, military, and others. It is what they need. Even if their uniform is like ladies could wear trouser or skirt.
All right.
NYSC is saying trouser is their uniform.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your comments on this. Thank you. Go ahead, Mariam.
Yeah, so, okay. I have two questions, but let me just start with one and see if we can get to the next one. So I just want to talk like a woman who is a mother and a wife, and there are needs at home, and she's earning just a limited amount of money, and they've sort of come together, she and her husband. So the husband does the like major capital expenses, and you want your kids to look good, you know, you want to also look nice, but if you were to stop that, your kids may not look as nice as you, or you may not be able to afford this kind of schools that they are going to, or, you know, just other little minimal things that women tend to spend their money on, just to make sure that the whole family is okay. And after all, marriage, they say, is supposed to be like a collaboration with the man and the woman. So this is not a divorce woman. So while you're married, this is what we're meant to do. What kind of advice or what kind of tools would would this woman need to help her, even though in meeting her home needs, be able to put money aside and also invest?
Very simple question. 50, 30, 20. 50% of your income goes towards your needs, 30% towards your wants, 20% towards your savings. So you may not afford to want your kids to look good. Simple, okay? Unless you're saving 20% of all incomes that come into your account, you're not being financially responsible, right? Like that. From that 20, you've got 80 to spend. 50 goes towards your needs: housing, transportation, groceries, electricity, utilities, school fees, medical aid. Maybe you cannot afford for your kids to go to the school that you're sending them to, full stop.
That is, if you do your calculations and you realize that more than 50% of your income is going
towards
to
your needs.
Yes.
Then you adjust your needs.
What's 30 supposed to go?
30 is your wants, your luxuries, your hair, makeup, holiday, entertainment, luxuries, your hair, makeup, holiday, entertainment, play, travel, whatever the case is. So 50 is your needs, your basic essentials. 30 is your wants, 20 is your savings. Because sometimes we spend more than 50% on our needs, but we justify being financially irresponsible because I need somewhere to live in. But maybe you can't afford the house you're living in, the area you're living in, the size you're living in. Let's be real.
Okay, I was reading this financial intelligence book, and it says instead of you adjusting your needs, you should adjust, find a way to make more money to have what you want.
But let's just say you haven't gotten there yet. I like that idea of, so I get 100,000, I immediately divide it into 50, 30, 20.
Correct.
You know, it just makes me spend better. And then it also tells me how rich I truly am.
Correct.
Because sometimes you think it's 100,000, oh, I'm 100,000 naira rich. Yeah, actually just made 50% of that amount. So that's
actually you're just 30 because 50 is for you to live.
So we are poorer than what we think we are.
So, see, one thing I was going to say, I'll come to you, Tokwe, because I have never, ever had a problem saving. I mean, I've been saving since I was a kid. So savings to me is second nature. In fact, I save like 50%. And I really, really work with like 30%. Luxury, I don't even do luxury. Even not for TVC, I wouldn't be doing any kind of luxury, trust me. So I do more saving. So, but my problem is I save this chunk. Now I'm going to school. I'm spending like 70% of my savings on school because I'm getting my master's degree, which is great. But the point is that how do I ensure what I have saved works for me? Because I never really know how to convert that money to proper investment. I never know.
You're not actually spending your savings, you're converting them. Because the masters will still pay you back. So that money you're putting into it will come back. You're still saving. So just psychologically, I don't want you feeling like, I don't have savings anymore. You do. You are now the savings product. Okay? Number one. Now, that 30, again, we're coming back to you've got the 30 to start off with. What are you trying to grow the 30 to? That'll tell you the return you need. That'll tell you the products. Well, I'm going to have to invoice you for that kind of information.
Oh, gosh, I love you, Samke. All right, so I think that we don't prioritize knowledge enough in Africa, actually. So we're not willing to pay a financial coach. We're not willing to pay a psychologist, a therapist to talk you through your challenges.
We can buy
but we can buy Weave On and we can travel. So what are if I'm looking for a financial coach to coach me, what are the things I should tick? What are the things the person should tick before I pay that person to coach me? Because there are many people branding themselves online now as financial coaches, and I don't want to risk not getting the right knowledge.
Thank you so much, and please don't. Number one, are they registered with a professional body? Okay, so in South Africa, there isn't a professional body for coaching, for financial coaching or financial education. But in the absence of a professional body, what's this person's experience? I worked 7 years in a private bank. I've got an accounting degree, postgrad in management, and a master's where I did a dissertation on over-indebtedness. Who are my existing clients? Big multinational corporates that you even know here are trusted, and a lot of them are banks. So banks are trusting me to teach their staff about financial management. So you are not even in a bank and you're thinking to yourself, I should know how to manage money because I make money. Well, you have a body and you're not a doctor. So let's just, first of all, get over the stigma that I'm not truly adulting if I don't know how to manage my finances. You're doing fantastic. You just need an expert. Number one. Number two, are they registered with a professional body? If not, what's their experience? Who are their existing clients? Can I get a reference?
How much do you need to have to be able to get someone like you?
How healthy do you need to be to go to a doctor?
Yeah, but it depends on the hospital. In fact, there's some hospitals I can afford. There's some
Okay, all
hospitals
right, point taken. But thank you. We have to wrap up. But in a nutshell, I'd like you to leave some word to women out there and what to do what they can begin to do right now to be financially secure in future.
What I'd like all women watching to do right now is to scenario plan in the event that my husband falls ill, if they're married, in the event that he passes away, in the event that he decides, actually, I found someone younger, it's been real, okay? What does that look like? Or older, okay? Or whiter, or blacker, or whatever. But what does that look like for you? Legally, culturally, because there are too many women that are okay in the societal structures that we've deemed are okay. And the minute they decide to step out of that, maybe you decide to step out. I'm not happy. What does that look like? It was a rude awakening for me at 29. So just scenario plan, be realistic. Don't be a statistic that later on finds themselves destitute again. You know, God, we always pray to God and think he answers by some magician. Maybe this is the answer. This conversation is the answer to a prayer you haven't even prayed yet.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
That's
all we can
have
take.
A question after the show.
That's all we can take on the show today. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I have to send you an invoice first.